I was born and raised in a small town in the Philippines. It's it's an hour away from the big city, so it's like a rural area. I don't remember much about when I was born, but I know that, yeah, I'm the third in the family, so my parents were still struggling, trying to make ends meet because they already have 2 kids, and then came.
Really cool. How would you describe yourself as a child? So what were you like?
Me, I think growing up in a very simple environment, so I'm a simple child, happy-go-lucky, free, playful.
Awesome.
We would always just play outside.
Yeah, really cool. What kind of things did you guys get up to, like playing outside?
Oh, we play with everything, like mud, dirt, like all kinds of traditional games in the Philippines. We have like jackstones. I don't know if you've heard it. We use sticks, we use empty cans. We try to, we do hide and seek. So it was a fun childhood.
Really cool.
Yeah, I think in the Philippines growing up, we know our neighbors.
Yeah.
We felt safe,
Cool.
being out. Parents would let their kids go play outside, like for the whole day.
Yeah.
And then they would just call us at the end, like when it's dusk, say, time to go home and wash your hands.
Yeah. What kind of student were you as we get into education?
I'm one of those very studious ones. I can say maybe I have to make sure I have in a I have to make sure I am in the top 5 of the class.
Yeah.
So I would spend time or like stay up to midnight studying if we have quizzes or assignments, and then wake up early the next day just to make sure. Yeah. I'm a perfectionist, I'd say.
Okay. What was an event or experience, maybe a few, that really shaped you as a child?
I think it's mostly watching my family or my parents get mocked by other people. So we live in a mining company. So my parents or my dad was working for that. So there was a period when they had to lay off people. They called it retrenchment at that time. So my dad was one of them that was laid off. So when you are laid off or retrenched, they cut you off on all the services that the company is providing.
Oh wow, like benefits?
Yeah, benefits, kind of like that. So because they provide housing, they provide electricity, transportation, so on and so forth. So so we were still living in the area, and then my dad or my parents built a house close or still within that company, and then so we were still getting electricity from the company. And then we would have people cut off electricity, so we don't have lights.
Oh wow.
So we would end up, so to run and to have electricity or lights in our house, we would use car batteries.
Oh wow. Yeah.
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 And then our house would probably, I'd say, maybe 100 square feet.
Yeah.
That's like the living room and the living room and the kitchen and the dining room already. So to sleep, you have to move tables.
Oh wow.
And then our house had an underground. So we had two beds, no rooms. And then we are using the restrooms for the company.
Yeah.
So we would feel shy going to the restroom because we feel like people made us feel that we're not part of that community anymore. So I think that watching that, I think also when I talk to my siblings, it's the same way how we viewed it. And that drove us to work hard to make our parents proud and to not experience the same, or to not have anybody experience the same thing as what we experienced.
Yeah. What do you notice in you and maybe even your siblings today because of that experience? How's that impacted you guys today even?
That we are very compassionate when we see people who don't have or who need something, we give, even if sometimes they don't ask. Because we know how it felt to have nothing.
Yeah. What led you and your family to move to the United States? And maybe we should, I don't know the story, so maybe it might make sense to say when did you move over here?
We married in 2008 and then processed my papers, came here in 2009 in California.
Yeah. Did your, I know your parents came over eventually because they're here locally. So what was their journey to come here?
Yeah, I brought them here to help me take care of the kids.
Of course.
It's different back in the Philippines because you can leave your kids in your
with
neighbors because you know them.
Oh, neighbors.
Yes, you know them. Like you know your neighbors very well, and you can trust them. I mean, it's not that I don't trust my neighbors.
Sure. I won't tell
it's
them.
It's different. Yeah, so I decided to bring them here, and I think that also same thing as my journey. Journey. It was a difficult adjustment for them, especially my dad. He didn't probably say, but I observed it. But I think his resilience, one of the things that I adopted or like I admire about him, and also I think I took from him. I saw how he started from the very bottom, and like to where he figured out the task or job that he wants to do that makes him fulfilled. Yeah. So he was a civil engineer in Saudi Arabia for 12 years. Come over here, he has to work in UPS, in Amazon, in manufacturing, where he used to be the boss, you know, like telling people. So I think that it was difficult. But over time, I think that they saw how America, how it worked to be America, that no matter what's your educational background, and I can only speak out of my experience. Maybe some people started right away, you know, at the top, but you have to start from the bottom, going to the top. So, and they kind of adopted that. And I think where they're at right now is, I feel like they're happy. They're fulfilled in what they're doing.
That's cool to hear. What was you brought up education and your dad's education. What was what kind of education? So like you killed it in high school, I'm assuming, because you know you're an A student, want to be top 5. Did you do anything after that?
Yes.
What did you do?
I took up engineering. So I graduated a Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Communications Engineering in the Philippines.
Really cool.
So, and then I took 1 year of nursing class too. So I graduated. I took licensure exam. I passed, but I didn't practice because I met my husband already, and he wants me to bring here. And nursing was like a very in-demand job at that time. So he told me like take nursing classes. So I did. He sent me to school.
Really? Marked it?
Yes.
Wow.
The funny thing is the engineering. I didn't choose that. My parents chose it for me because my brother, who was taking engineering, went into military at his 3rd year. So my parents said, "You're the next in line. You're like the second smartest." No offense to my other siblings. I said, "You're the second smartest, so just finish the course that your brother took." And I said, "Okay," because my first choice was accounting. I wanted to be a lawyer.
I can see that. I can see that.
So the prerequisite for I think education was a 4-year course, which is accounting is one of them. And then my second choice was information technology, because like internet was just growing at that time. But I ended up engineering.
All right, it works. Okay, so you said you moved to California before you came up here to Washington. What kind of jobs did you have before coming to COS? What was your work history?
So when I arrived in 2009, I started my family unplanned,
Nice.
early. So I stayed home for 2 years to take care of my daughter. And then it was difficult to find a job. I didn't know that it was recession at that time when I came in. I just knew that maybe couple months or maybe a couple years ago. And I told him, I was like, "You didn't tell me it was recession during that time," so I had a hard time finding a job.
Those are tough times.
So with my background in engineering, we decided to move to Washington for me to get into Boeing. And then he got in.
Nice. Instead?
I didn't get hired.
Nice.
He got in. So I said, "Okay, we're okay." He got in there.
Someone has a job that pays well.
But still, I still had a hard time looking for a job because I didn't have any experience here in America. And then we were referred to one of the retail thrift stores. We met people who helped us along the way. So I was referred there. I went in for an interview and met a great guy. And it felt like I've known this guy for a long time. We just chatted. He didn't interview me. He said, "You're hired."
Nice. That's awesome.
So I started in there. So behind that, his intention was for me to give like character references, work references, so I can go somewhere else. So I started there as like a retail worker, as a cashier, and then 3 months later I got promoted to the lead position. And then a couple months he just had me just keep working for maybe a few more months, and then he came and said, Sherry, you can go. Go take off. So so I started looking for jobs outside that. I've had to go to agencies so I can find manufacturing job, because I was trying to get into manufacturing industry. And then I have no intentions, don't know anything about CAS. Not many people know I applied in CAS twice. For the first one is a materials management position.
Oh, wow.
So Jason interviewed me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Does he probably, no, he probably doesn't remember. I didn't get hired. So,
nice.
But I was looking at like the description, right? Like, oh, people who can do inventory, push 50 pounds, you know, like, and I was laughing. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to push a 50 pounds, but I can do inventory. I worked during college, like in a fast food chain, and we did some inventory, so I can try. And so after that, it didn't work out. So fine, I've tried different jobs. I went to Philips for a day. There's Fluke, I think, was also a day.
Oh, wow.
I tried everything, and they always have quotas, and I can't meet their quotas. So that's why, like, I didn't last long. So I think I started looking for a job online, and I found CAS Tailored.
What was the first month on the job here at CAS like?
I always felt uneasy. I was a slow learner, so I can't remember when he showed. So the person that trained me, I get along well now, and I work with now. So we just laughed about it. He wants me to remember. After he showed me one time.
Nice.
And I was a slow learner. I can't remember like how to wrap this, because they wrap in different, or are done in different ways. So I always felt uneasy. I felt like I was gonna get fired. So like I always scrambling, trying to meet what they want me to do. Yeah,
interesting. And I don't think it's just you. I think most people can't learn by just watching it done once. That just sounds like bad, not the best training, but so it's not just a Sherry thing, but
maybe fast forward, I think we've improved a lot. Because
that's good. That's good. That's hopeful. What was some of the hardest things early on? So you mentioned overcoming bad training as a challenge early on. What are some other challenges you faced at CAS?
At CAS. It was just saying what I want. So if I go through like the first 2 years I've been in CAS, I was just working unfulfilled, just running CNC machines just in my own space. Come here to work, do my job well, don't speak to anyone, go home tired and unfulfilled.
Yeah, that does sound challenging. So you said the first 2 years?
First 2 years.
What changed?
A lot.
Okay. What are some things that changed?
So it's always, I think that it's all for the good. So we've learned how to be more welcoming. We've formed training plans. We've been more prepared than when we have new people. So it feels different from when I came. So and then, I think we connect. We connect with new hires now. Like unlike before, it's like, okay, here's your first day. Here's your training plan. We have a training plan. You watch the QR videos, and then you go run the machines, and then like I won't check with you anymore as long as you're doing your job well.
We've come a long way. What changed for you personally though? Because what got you to engage more and you're a very engaged person now. So like how did that? What was maybe the moment or a few moments that made it so you were like, I'm going places. I'm going to take on more responsibilities. I'm not just going to come in and cut and go home.
I had some people I met. I have Colleen. She was really nice. She changed my image of like people who are here, because the first experience in my previous job wasn't that pleasant. And then she said she's from here. She grew up here, and she was very welcoming. Yeah, she didn't make me feel like I was from a different place or I don't belong here.
Yeah.
So, and then we have Amgad. I think Amgad is the same as immigrant as me, but he would always say like, "Oh, you want to try to do this? You want to be a in-process inspector? You want to be like, you want to lead, a department?" Also, Marty, yeah, like help you. But I think I came earlier, or like maybe a few months than Marty. There's conversations talking about work, talking about some personal stuff, but I was very reserved. I don't trust that fast, so I was only talking about work. Never wanted to build a relationship outside that, and so they keep saying that I see something in you. Like, I see a potential in you. I know deep inside, I know that I have something. I was just not courageous enough to say what I want to do. And they were the ones who offered. It was more of let's say maybe a push from them, like a nudge.
A nudge, yeah.
Instead of me being like pulling from them.
Yeah. As someone who's now in quality and who led our foam shop for a period of time before that, what are some experiences before you became a leader that helped prepare you to be a leader? Because it is a unique role, being a leader. So what are some things that help prepare you along the way?
So I think the number one is feeling comfortable being uncomfortable. So what I mean is, especially with having difficult conversations. So downstairs, when I would inspect foam, reject parts, I try to be nice, because rejecting a part or returning to somebody like, hey, you made a mistake, or this is not up to standard, it's difficult. Or other things like, oh, we have to do like an NCR because you did things that are not up to standard, and we have to fix it. It was difficult for me, but like learning to have that conversation helped me prepare to be to be the quality lead, because I'm not going to be only dealing with internal customers this time, but I will be talking to like our outside customers, which is my biggest fear. Like talking to other people that I don't really know.
Really cool. What are some other experiences that helped prepare you for your for leading the QA team and foam?
There's also some I'd just say not bad experiences, not so good experiences. Always clashing with somebody like who has authority over you. I think that shaped me too. And because that way I know how to not make it personal. It's only job. It's part of the job to not agree all the time. Because if we agree all the time, that's a problem. Yeah. So
how did you learn that lesson, though?
It's a hard way. My experience, and I think it might be only a few people I know. So before I took over quality or accepted the role, I was about to leave Castellard, go back to the Philippines.
Really?
Because I was so stressed out, because I was taking things personally. That's my experience. That's where I say, like, I learned it the hard way. And then I think you make the plans, but God directs your ways, So at that time, like a month before I decided to leave, I was offered the quality position, the lead position. And then I thought of it, and I said, one of my biggest fears is to talk to people outside the company, especially I don't know, and maybe like communicating. English is not my first language, so I had that like self-doubt. And I said, if I don't do it, when will I learn to do it? Right? I cannot run from it. I have to face it head on so I can learn. And so I told my husband, I'm taking the quality role. And my husband first said, are you crazy? You said you're stressed. You want to leave, and then now you're taking a bigger role. This is the quality of the company. You're representing the company. And then a lot of people came to me to like, Sherry, what are you doing to yourself? you know, like, why are you taking this? And I said, this is the challenge I'm ready to take.
That gave me chills. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've shared this only to maybe 2-3 people in the company.
Yeah.
And so I said, when Todd came to me and said, yeah, I want to give it a try. And so I accepted the role.
Yeah. In your current role, what are some projects that you're proud of that you've been working on lately? Okay.
The Connect, Grow, Grow.
So what have you been learning through that process?
It's learning more about yourself, how you would grow yourself, understanding how you deal with other people with the tools, you know, and then having tools like Kaizen, teaching it to other people so that you reinforce your learning, living it, kata, going through or learning through the kata and performing those, using those tools in your current role.
Yeah.
So, like, every time that I face an issue, whether inside or outside, I mean, like at work or outside, I use the thinking process.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, especially Kaizen.
Actually, a question I had written down for later, but I'll since you mentioned Connect, Grow, Go, so you're a D.
Yes.
On DC, right? Like,
DC.
Yeah, yeah.
Dominant D.
Yeah, you're pretty dominant.
Forceful.
Yeah, dominant. Yeah. That surprised me a little because you don't come across as dominant necessarily.
Really?
Yeah. Like, what is it that has helped you balance it out so that you aren't as just forceful dominating? You're a loving dominant person maybe. Because now that I know you more and I've been along with your journey of self discovery as well, it is accurate. Like you are, you're. Like even when we present an idea with you, you usually say, "I think I agree with you." That's like your tagline. So like I
you agree, but you're not sure.
Yeah, you are skeptical,
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good thing. But I am curious, like how do you kind of balance it out so it's not just like you're not just dominant for dominance sake. So what makes you a little bit more loving, I guess?
I think it's empathy. It's
Okay.
putting yourself in their shoes. And then also over the years, I've met people who've taught me, or who've shared their experiences, their thoughts, and made me think like, oh yeah, that might be true, because I might not be experiencing the one thing that they are experiencing. That's why I don't understand them. But if people tell me like their perspective is maybe because they are, they're stressed or like they're experiencing something outside the house. So I have that in my head and I put myself in that shoes. Like if I'm a sewer, why am I not doing it correctly? So it's mostly just empathy.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah, that you have to be firm in your role as a quality because you represent the company.
Yeah.
You want to ship good parts, but you also have to understand that there's contributing factors to like anything that's not going well. Yeah.
And there's people on the other side.
And to
of
the
that.
people, yeah.
Yeah. Really neat. So in this phase of being a quality lead, who has been your guide along the way? So who's been able to shape you in your newer role?
So I don't have really a specific person. Like that's one thing that I love, Cass, is people are so generous. I've met so many people that were very generous about their knowledge. They've been here in the company. I'd say like Jeff Adams, Fantasy, you, Brenda, Oliver, Tom. I can name names. I think I like everybody. Darren, like they've always offered help. They've always are willing to help with any problems or any challenge that you're being faced. Never felt like I'm doing it alone. Like co-leads, like Marty, and like even people that are not in leadership, like Willie, it's just like a lot of people help guide you, Jesse, like people that are not judging, like I felt that CAS was a safe place to open myself and willing to be judged. I'm to a point where like I can write an email. I feel like I don't have the right word. It sounds dumb or it can be read as dumb, but I'm not scared, or I'm not shy to ask people like, hey, can you proofread my email and help me, before I send. So there has just been many very generous, kind, smart people here.
Yeah, it takes a tribe, all of us working
Yeah,
together.
it takes a village.
Yeah, it takes a village. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Really cool, really neat. What's your superpower?
It's
Like, what makes Sherry special?
seeing the good in every bad. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if like a challenge, something bad happens, sometimes I feel sad one day or 2 days, But after that, I get back and I said, what do I learn? What is God trying to show me? What is something that He wants to teach me? Or is He tapping me because I'm going the other way, Or I'm putting the accomplishments or the blessings He have showed me in my head. So I've always see the good in the bad.
Yeah.
So perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. And that, I think, contributes also to your grit, as well as your, even when you're dealt a not great hand, you're not one to just fold. Be like, I'm going to give up. You're one to power through, and I think that shows.
Yeah, it's like if I get a rejection from a big customer, supplier corrective action, it's bad. It's not good for us. It's not good for me. I have to deal with it. But the way I see it is it's a painful learning,
Yeah.
There's always something to learn about that.
Yeah. Yeah. As a parent, that resonates with me because a lot of my kids' learnings are the painful way, and it's hard to watch sometimes, but it's a necessary part of life. So, what motivates you to put in the good work?
Results. I don't stop until I see results. And part of the D is that results oriented. So until I don't see a result, I don't stop. I just keep going. Yeah. No one can stop me.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And is that, I'm assuming that's results for not just you, but your team and even the company?
Yes.
It's across the board?
It's more of tangible results.
Yeah.
If I see the team is feeling good, we have a good system in place, they have the tools that they need so they can do their task, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
That makes me to keep going. Hey, I want to do more. I want to fix everything. I want to fix every standard work.
Yeah. Let's make this all good. Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
That's cool to hear. What is your purpose in life?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I know that deep inside, I have a responsibility to shine my light, to impact a greater community at this time. So I'm trying to figure that out. I know that I am now called to share or create opportunities for other people, because I was given so many opportunities, so that they can also grow.
Yeah. How would you describe a good life? What does that look like?
So when I read your question, I said, how do I define a good life? And then Maslow's hierarchy came into mind. Depends on where you're at, I guess. So I think that if I'm looking at it, okay, I have the things I need. I feel secure. I feel loved. I feel respected, and I think I respect other people. I think I'm to a point where self-actualization. I'm trying to discover myself to the best I can be. For my family and for other people.
Yeah.
It's one thing I learned about CAS. So when I started, I just started to work, right, to feed my family. That's it. When I came into CAS, go to the tours, talk to people, see Jeff, do the coaching and consulting and the tours. It made me think different way. It made me formulate my why. It's why am I doing this? I'm not just doing this because I need money. I'm not saying that I'm rich now, but I think I have enough what I need.
Yeah. Your bottom part of your pyramid's full.
Yeah.
Filled up pretty full. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty full. So and then now is it's my turn to give. It's my turn to give. That's why I said I think I have a calling deep inside that I have a bigger responsibility to influence other people, to make an impact to the community. If you look at our statement of purpose, right? That's one thing I learned. I have to do something, whether inside or outside CAS.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's really cool to hear. So the next question is related to that. How has cost influenced you in the good and the bad?
Again, as I said, it's my superpower to see the good in the bad. So like whether it's a bad, I think I get something out of it, you know. I owe a lot to Casti, Lord. It gave me all the opportunities. It's just a very generous company where they give you the tools to build the people. They're very intentional in the tools they provide. And like they think about family. So one thing that's funny, I always say this is, maybe if I'm working with other companies, I got fired already, because like to be able to meet my children and my kids' needs at that time, like, hey, I have to leave early to pick up my daughter, is like, they were very flexible. They think of, okay, go family first, you know. So I had that flexibility. I mean, it depends on your role.
Sure.
So things like that I really appreciate. And a lot of opportunities going to Japan. I never imagined going to another country, touring one of the biggest factories, like automobile factories, and working at the same time. And so when I did that, I said, oh, I can travel and work at the same time, you know. Like I've met doctors, nurses, you know, like CEOs of companies where I think maybe outside or somewhere else I won't be able to experience. So being that it built me the confidence to go out to the bigger world and say, I can talk to anybody, no matter what their profession is.
They're just people.
They're just people, you know, because my perception is like, oh, okay, they're like, they have the highest, you know, role in the company. They might be intimidating. But in CAS, when I met these people, they're very humble. Like Jeff, when I talked to Jeff, I don't think that he's like, if you don't know that he's the president or he owns the company, is like, you wouldn't know the way he talked, the way he communicate, even Ken, you know, like from top to bottom. I think that it's just a different hierarchy for me. So it just gave me all the confidence to go out and conquer the world. The bad. One thing is, it's not bad, but I think there's like jumping and then figuring it out later. Right? So I think that we've always been excited to try new things. So, and then we jump in and then we can figure out along the way. It's not a bad thing, right? Because I've done that outside CAS, like in real estate. It was, for me, like investing in real estate was like an accidental discovery. It's like I was going through like stress and traffic, and I said, I'll just jump in, buy another house and have the other one get rented, you know? And so it gave me the courage to take risks, right? Like kata. We didn't know about kata, but like, okay, let's start using it.
Fumbling around. We threw ourselves the kata wolves,
but like we know down the road, I mean, we might not be looking at it right now, the benefits, but we will be reaping the benefits down the road. So that's like one thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's like I'm learning.
Well, I don't. I agree. It's not necessarily a bad thing or evil thing, but it definitely is something that I think we need to get better at, which is being a little bit more prepared.
It's true.
I think with you and me, we were not necessarily ready for the roles that we've jumped into, and that's very much like something I've noticed we struggle with and that's what Connect Grow Go is trying to fix, which is preparing people before they step into the role. You're never going to fully be ready for whatever role you're going to step into. Parenting is a good example. No parent or no soon-to-be parent is ready until like they've been a parent for a few years, and then it's like you're ready for a season of life, and then things change, and then you know, it's just so crazy. But I've described it to people as we take people who might show potential and throw them into the deep end and see if they float, you know, like deep end of the pool, and if they float, then we're like, awesome. And if they drown, it's like, well, let's throw another person in and see. And so I definitely know what you mean. It's like we flexible, but sometimes too flexible, and sometimes we need to add some rigidity and structure in so that we are more prepared and a little more thought out. But I love your positive spin on it, which is a superpower of yours. Is it prepares you for taking risk, prepares you for what's next. So If someone's watching this video who doesn't is maybe interested in working with CAS, what would you say to them to like encourage them to work with us?
CAS is a safe place to fail. You know, what I mean by that is like, if you make mistakes, there's always a solution. People will not leave you and let you figure it out by yourself. There's always going to be like a helping hand, whether one or two person, two persons. And just grab all the opportunities that's being presented to you.
Yeah.
You know, some people may have self-doubt, but in CAS Taylor, there are people who are good in identifying like potential, like God. You know, like I think he probably discovered a lot of like the leads or like people who are in the leadership role now, or in like backup leadership.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's encouraging. So it might be a secret to some people, but you're about to leave us potentially, right? Like coming up, not potentially, but you are. So what is next? Tell us about your opportunity that you have in front of you.
It's not a secret anymore that I'm planning to continue my career outside CAS. So I feel like I'm prepared, that CAS has prepared me, built me, gave me the confidence to go out and conquer the outside world. And we'll be embarking in entrepreneurship journey for the next few months, years, I don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah, really cool. Well, I think a final question maybe to end our time, Taylor, is what are some things that you're going to miss about CAS?
A lot. Of course, the people, the routines, you know. Yeah, the things we do. I think meeting people that's not from CAS, teaching people, learning about them. There's a lot. Like having lunch with, coworkers outside. Relationships, conversations. But I said I'm not leaving, or I'm not going anywhere far.
Yeah.
It's still gonna be here. So
yeah, you'll stay in touch.
You stay in touch, for sure. I have
Good.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Build relationships.
Really cool. Awesome. Anything else you care to share?
I think that for me is dream big. Dream big that it's so scary. But remember that, I think I mentioned earlier, we make the plans, but God directs you. And one of the ways that God directed me was to be in CAS Taylor. So many times where people would ask me, why are you in CAS Taylor? There's a lot of bigger companies, why are you not? I said, I feel fulfilled. I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for my spiritual money, which is, I make money, but I make impact.
Yeah. And you feel like that costs a lot of you to do that?
Yeah, it gave me a platform, because when I teach tours, and I learn something from them, and I teach them, it's cool to learn, like, oh, they learned something from us. Like even the small kaizens that we share, it might be very small, but for them, like, oh yeah, it's working. It's the tool that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.